What is an outline and do you need one for your book? That's what we are going to talk about in this video. I'm Kelly Blanchard, the author of the Chronicles of Loic series. So, what is an outline? An outline is basically a roadmap to your story. You can have it as detailed as you want or as vague as you want. It all depends on you and your style and how you like to work. Now, do you need an outline when you're writing? No, you don't need one. Now, there are three kinds of writers. You have a plotter, the one that plots every detail. Then you have a pantster, the one who flies by the seat of the pants. And then you have basically a blend of the two, which is called a plantster. It has nothing to do with plants. Now, let's first of all talk about the plotter. The plotter goes into a story and they have every single detail planned out. They know how it's going to begin, how the middle is going to unfold, and how the end is going to go. They have everything figured out. And they have very detailed map of how it's going to work. And for the characters, there's not much room to negotiate with the author. You do what they say and then hopefully you survive. But that's how the plotters work. Now, of course, some plotters are a little bit looser with their decisions and with their outline. You know, they may be a little bit willing to negotiate, but for the most part, they're like, no, I still want this to happen. That's what most plotters do. And there is nothing wrong with being a plotter. It is good to know where you're going. So if you are the kind of person that likes to have a plan, it's okay to go ahead and outline your story from beginning to end as much as you can. Now, the only problem with that is your characters might not agree with the way you want things to go. And when that happens, they can fight, they can argue. And if you insist that things go the way you wanted it to go because of how you see it's supposed to unfold, the characters may give you writer's block. They may, cross their arms, stomp their feet, and storm out the door because they don't want to do it that way. They don't feel like that's who they are. And you can fight with them all you want. And in the end, you can finish the story the way you wanted to finish it. But then you really dread revision because you know that there's a lot you have to work through and you don't really want to touch it because it's not the way you expected it. It's not as fun as you had expected it. So that's something to be aware of if you're going to plot it to the minute detail. And so and there's nothing wrong with plotting it like that. Just be aware that sometimes your characters might misbehave and they may have their own decisions they make. And if you keep an open mind, they can still end up where you wanted the book to end. So just something to keep in mind if you want to plot. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, pantsters, they fly by the seat of the pants, which is why they're called pantsters. They have no idea. They're like, oh, I like that general idea that I've got, and I don't know anything else, so I'm going to just start writing with what I've got. And they just go at it. And that's okay. It's really nice, and it's fun when it happens. But of course, with every, thing, there's always a downside. And for this one, you can get as far as the idea takes you, but if you don't have a plan, you get stuck. And then you don't know what to do. And then the next more interesting idea that comes along is the one that you're going to jump for because, hey, I got an idea, and you go for it. So it's easier to have more unfinished stories. It's easier to jump from idea to idea if you don't have a plan at all. So, there's a good thing and a bad thing for everything. So again, it's not wrong to be a pantster. There are some very successful writers out there that do it, and it just depends on your style. Now, if you want to be a little bit of both, plotters and pantsters put together, that is basically having a vague idea, a vague outline. Going, okay, I know the beginning, I know the end, I know some scenes in the middle, but that's about it. I'm not sure how the rest of it's going to unfold. And so you wing it in between the scenes, and you get to the main scene that you get to one of the highlights that you had in mind, like, okay, that was awesome, and then you move on. That's basically what a plantster is, and they're the best of both worlds. Now, of course, the thing about that is sometimes your characters might say, hey, I want to go this direction, and you go that way, and the story never comes back to the idea that you had originally. And that can be hard to let go, especially when you love the idea that you had in mind. But here's the thing. If you follow the characters and you go with the way that they wanted to go, and you explore it and you imagine it and you branch out that way, then the story would actually be better than you imagined because you didn't imagine it, not originally. So it's something to keep in mind as you are trying to figure out and everything. So, do you have to outline? No, you do not have to outline. If you want to outline, you can. If you have never outlined and you have a hard time finishing a story, then try outlining. If you outlined and you have a hard time writing and being motivated to write, then try not to do it. And then try to figure out a little bit of both if you can, because you have to find the middle ground and what works best for you. Now, I used to be a plotter. I used to have everything organized and figured out. And when I did that, I would basically tell the scenes in the paragraph form what I wanted that scene to be about. All the major points about that scene that I wanted to remember, I would write those down. And I would do that for the entire story. And then when it came to write, I would just have to take that one scene and then just flush it out and show it and have actual action and dialogue and so forth. Well, the thing that I discovered was by the time I finished outlining, I had told the story. I hadn't shown it, I had told it, but the story was already written in a form. It wasn't in the best form because it was telling, but it was already written, and I didn't feel like going back and rewriting it entirely because I wanted to move on because I was already bored with that other one. So you can't, nowadays I am a planster. I know how I want the story to begin for the most part. I know how I want the story to end. It's the middle part that's always up for grabs. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I know this, and that need to happen. Let's see, and jump right in. So as a writer, you're going to find that your style is going to change, whether you plot, planster, or pantster. You can shift between them. You can shift between them in stories and so forth. So you don't have to be stuck to just one. So experiment, have fun, and remember that this is all just a learning process right now for you to develop your writing style so you can then go on and write those fantastic books. So hopefully this has been of help for you. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you're a writer who already knows what it is that you do and you have any good tips, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I'm sure others would really appreciate that. So I hope that this has helped you. So get back to writing and have fun with it. I believe in you.